Time for a little track day recap. So, earlier this week, took the old FZ out to the track after having a few modifications. Nothing too crazy. Probably go through them one by one, but it's nice to get out when it's sunny. It did rain a little bit at the track day, which actually was totally fine. We lost the session in the morning, but got to go out in our cars to try and dry out the track. Then it promptly rained again, which was, felt like there wasn't really a point for us to dry out the track with the cars, but it's okay. Got to have fun doing that. And then, so yeah, that first session got washed out, but then started kind of the second session later in the afternoon. And, oh yeah, bike feels good. I think the rear shock, we'll get to that. The rear shock is really helping this bad boy feel stable, leaned over. Just not as much squish. But anyway, yeah, I used that first session that we did around 11 o'clock and got rained on halfway through. Got some cool pictures. Thanks to Got Blue Milk photographer for capturing that. But just used it as an opportunity to kind of slide around a little bit, not get too crazy. So I put this bad boy into B mode, so it doesn't really change the fuel mapping too much, but just softens that initial roll on. And I did have it on TC1 because I think even in TC2 the rain has been very intrusive, which is fine, but I just left TC1 B mode, went for a few laps, felt what it was like for the tire to kind of slide in the rear, getting on the gas a little early, but did feel both tires slide when I went through the apex of a corner, and that was fun. It actually wasn't too scary. These street tires I have, the Pirelli Rosso 4s, do pretty good in the rain. Drive out of the turn, it's pretty good. Like, I wasn't spinning the rear wheel that much, even getting kind of ham-fisted on it. And then when both tires slid, it just kind of reminded me of my dirt biking days, when you feel both the tires kind of sliding around underneath you. And it was not abrupt, it was kind of just quick little slide, and then the whole time I was getting off and getting ready to like stay light on the front bars, but like pick the bike up if I felt like kind of have to slide. There's a lot of like easy neutral throttle, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good learning experience. And then the afternoon sessions dried up and had some fun out there, kind of like this. Oh yeah, the bike feels real good. All right, and we're back. Just had some traffic there for a bit, no biggie. But yeah, let's get on the list of mods. I've been kind of incremental with the mods on the bike, and just kind of like a quick review of everything, what's had the biggest impact for the track and streets. I did do the ECU Flash'em V-Cycle. That, huge difference. Really smoothed out the power, eliminated some of the choppiness of the roll-on of the throttle. The quick review of the mods on the bike so far, and which ones have made the most difference. And I kind of incrementally done a little bit each time. Each one is like a little bit of a percentage of a mod, and then it continues to kind of like all add up together to feel good, or to get to a point where like the overall package is coming together. But I decided to update the exhaust, so I have a Yoshimura now. Weighs a lot less than the stock pipe, eliminates kind of the cat and some of the extra weight, so the bike feels a little bit lighter. That made it flick a little side a little bit better. Not a huge difference all on its own. Sounds good. Currently have the street silencer in there because, well, the street silencer's in there because I'm on the street, and it's a little obnoxious without it. It is pretty loud. It does have like a lot of backfiring and stuff on it. But otherwise, really impressed with the Yoshimura. Good bang for buck. I got it on like a discount. But because I was doing the exhausts, I did an ECU flash, which was something I was considering for a while. Sent that into V-Cycle Nut. Cost about 300 bucks. And the exhaust smoothed out the initial roll-on of the throttle. It's a huge deal. This bike, not as bad as the first gen when it came to abrupt throttle on-off, but the ECU flash really helped just smooth on, like, especially when these leaned over corners, getting roll on the throttle, cracking open that throttle from off. Really eliminated that hitchiness. What else did it do? It kind of smoothed out the power band. Like, didn't notice it before, but they used to be like kind of around 6 or 7. There's a little bit of a bump where it would like, I would notice it mostly as the front wheel would come up and it would like lift, and then kind of come up a little bit more. Now it's just like a smooth line of power and torque all the way through the rev range. So it's like the front wheel comes up like it normally did, but then you just hold the throttle and it doesn't kind of like abruptly push up at all. It kind of just holds in position. And so it's just a nice, smooth power band now. And so the third thing of this group of mods I did was the Quickshifter. And that's probably the most fun thing that I have actually done to this bike. Is it's so smooth, it's so much fun to roll on this bike. The way it makes power, the sound it makes, and then having that quick shifter to just go pop, 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 pop through the gears is such a cool feeling. Going to the track with the quick shifter was a big deal too, because you get leaned over in some of those long sweeping turns and you want to go up a gear to kind of like keep your momentum, but you don't want too much torque going to the back tires, so you can just lightly boop, boop. Don't have to touch the clutch. Ton of fun. Love the quick shifter, OEM quick shifter. So that all together, I'd say probably changed the bike 15%. You know, sound, power, weight, electronic, quick shifter, just made the bike a lot of fun. Did it change anything handling wise? Not so much. Like the weight, I think a little bit of the braking was improved, a little bit of the weight room, but nothing that I could notice like handling wise. Next biggest mod I did was this last upcoming track day is steel braided brake lines. So going into that, real pain in the ass on an ABS bike because of the ABS motor. You got to snake. I took off the tank, had to snake the wires underneath the frame all the way to under my butt, basically where the ABS motor is. And it's messy. It's a lot of stuff you have to get out of the way. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would say. Like the brake feel, so much better. This is 2017. I brought this brand new. The brakes have always been, I would say, adequate. Like nothing crazy. Like I've ridden my buddy's R6, should get to this last Monday. Those brakes are really nice. Those have like a nice initial feel. FZ-09, this gen, the brakes are fine. Like they always did their job. I think they work good on the FZ-09 versus some of the like the FJ or the Tracer, because it's a little bit heavier of a bike. This one comes in around a little over 400 something pounds. So I think for this bike with I also upgraded the pads a while back to the EBC Double H sintered pads. That made a big difference. So if you're looking at buying one of these bikes new, it's got the rubber hoses. And it's ABS, and you've got time. It's doable. It's just a pain, but big difference in like the power, like squish. I don't know. It's not a great way to describe it, but like it's like the initial bite isn't that great on these bikes, and that might be due to the master cylinder here, but the progression as I now squeeze the lever feels so much better than it did on the rubber hoses. So yeah, recommendation, if your bike's 5 or 6, 7 years old, get rid of the rubber lines. Steel braided lines make a big difference there, and they just, I don't know, something about them, they look so cool. They just I don't know what it is, but steel braided lines just look nice. I did get the front suspension service, so my plan was to get stiffer springs in conjunction with the rear shock that I got, but springs I ordered didn't fit without having to cut some of the stock internals, so my shop wasn't really comfortable doing that. And I did some more research. It looks like there's some K-Tech springs that I can get that will do the job without having to cut any of the stock internals. And just replacing springs, I didn't feel like it was going to be a huge difference. But so when I do change the springs now, I'll probably do internals to get some sort of like kit to go with it. But I had them change the fork oil after 25,000 miles, change the fork seals. Seals were good, they weren't leaking, but figured they're already in there, might as well. I've definitely come down hard on a couple of wheelies, so who knows if it was a matter of time before the seals would start leaking or not, but shop did that, and the front feels good. It's, you know, it definitely feels better with the new oil in it, and I think this gen does a better job than the first gen as far as like compression, rebound, and yeah, the springs are still pretty soft on this, but with gear I'm about 180, maybe 190, so there's a bit of squish, and on the street really doesn't bother me. On the track, I did notice a few times like coming down hard, it'll like pogo, like if you're really getting hard on the brakes, but even then not that bad. So front's good for now, but that is a lot of the biggest upgrade I think to suspension. Completely replaced the rear shock, got the stock one out of there, which this is a budget bike. I think that shock was fine. It's pretty squishy though, so I did notice coming out of a lot of turns, like I get like a little bit of a best way I could describe the rear shock is just it would really compress, and it would lower kind of like the bike as you come into the turn and stuff, and it just, you get it hard on the acceleration, and there's a lot of like the bike would want to come back instead of kind of push forward. So a lot of kind of like little wheelies and stuff coming out of turns, which is actually a ton of fun. That's what I enjoy about this bike in this position. But just like a quick review of the K-Tech Razor. It's good. I got a spring for my size. I got it for around $800. It comes with a little reservoir that you hook up to the bracket. Not a bad install. I'd say if you have like 3 to 4 hours, all you need is a car jack, a book underneath like the oil pan to kind of lift the bike up a little bit and lower and raise it. There's videos on how to do it, but I had an easier time because I was already taking out the lines, so I had the tank off and stuff. But you unbolt the top, unbolt the rear, slide out the old shock, slide in the new shock. Really not a bad job to do by yourself, or if you have a friend to do it with you. So I didn't set up my suspension, but at the track there was a company that the guy basically $60, you line up your bike, he pushes on the front, he pushes on the rear, sets the sag, sets the compression and everything, and then he's like, all right, go ride it. If you need anything adjusted, just come back, I'll take a look, tell me how it feels. And he did that initial he did the initial setup for me that day and felt great to me, so didn't go back. He added a little bit of preload to the front, set up the rear compression, rebound, dampen, Yeah, and the bike was a ton of fun at the track day on Monday. Differences I'm noticing, just a lot more feedback. A lot like the rear just feels solid. There's not a lot of vagueness. Doesn't feel like it's wandering at all as I kind of like roll on the throttle or enter in a turn and stuff. And just makes riding through the corners a pleasure. Do I notice it's a little bit stiffer? Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more of the bumps. I think it has highlighted the front fork needing updated internals and stuff. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it'll be fun for street, but maybe like later in the year, if we're doing some more track days, I'll probably see about upgrading the front spring and internals. But overall, that's like the list of mods, and I'd say, you know, the bike overall is probably 40% different, better than it was stock. Like all these little additions have been partly maintenance, partly things that it's like, oh, this is kind of the way the bike should have come from the factory, and adjusting those things. But you know, when this bike came out 2017, I got it in 2018, so I've been sitting on the dealer lot for a year, and I got it for right around $9,000 out the door. And I think for a budget bike, there's a reason why they built this motor around so many different platforms. But I think for what I like to do, a variety of things, which is street riding, commuting, racetrack, it will do all those things. It's not great at any one thing, but with the mods that I've done, it's gotten a lot more compliant and fun for everything. So it's not razor sharp like the R6 at the track. It's not as comfortable as an FJ or Tracer commuting. There's nicer components on things like the Triumph bikes and stuff. All together, you know, you would then, it's like, if I were to buy this bike again brand new, it's like, well, the R9's out now, so I'd probably get something like that instead, especially if I was thinking, you know, now where I'm doing more track days. But if you could only have one bike in your garage, this is kind of the do-it-all machine. I was just at the track on Monday, and I'm out on a beautiful day on some back roads, cruising, gonna get some lunch, and then probably sometime next week I'm gonna commute 40 miles into San Francisco and back. I got saddlebags for it. So really, there's nothing this motorcycle can't do. And I was running intermediate pace at Sonoma, I think kind of like around 2-minute track times. I wasn't really timing myself, but yeah, the turn. So having done these turns before with the stock suspension, now coming back out here with the updated, yeah, the rear it just feels really planted. I think the bike's probably 35% better for probably about that much more in money over the years, but these are all things that I felt like needed to be upgraded and or replaced anyway due to maintenance. So it's like as I went along, I kind of upgraded things. Another like quick track day review. I got to ride my buddy's R6 while I was out there. So beautiful bike. It's the 50th World Superbike edition or something like that. That bike just looks fast sitting still. And it was a lot of fun at the track. The brakes, suspension, terrific. Coming straight off the FZ to it, body position is so foreign. You're really sitting on top of it. Your hands are like, you feel like you're right over the front of the handlebars. This feels more like a supermoto. And yeah, it was a lot of effort. I think I realized if I want to get a 600 Super Sport for riding the track, I need to get into better shape. I was pretty tired by the end of the session. Also, it was tough, like, rewiring my brain to understand how quickly the bike was turning in. I was hitting the apex a lot closer than I had been expecting. Yeah, I felt a lot better. And just, like, the characteristics of the motors, too. The FZ and R9, or... the FZ, which is going to be the R9 or is the R9 with the same motor, is probably going to be a blast. It's probably going to be the best of both worlds. I think that R6 was a blast. I would love to do it again, but it was tough. And as far as like revving it out, I was basically trying to learn the bike for the first half of the session, and then second half of the session learn how to use the motor to its best ability. If you have any questions about the mods or the bike, feel free to leave a comment below. More than happy to respond. One of the side benefits of riding at the track is you don't feel the need to just like go hog wild as much, or at least I don't. When you're out riding back roads and stuff as much. When I was younger, I wanted to go as fast as I could, as often as I could. But I feel like I've gotten a little bit more of that out doing track days and going out. Going out on a day like this, sneaking out kind of in the afternoon on a weekday to get some oysters or a crab sandwich is kind of the ideal, obviously, when possible, but I'm not riding every day, rain, shine, any kind of condition like I used to. It's more of like pick your own battles, enjoy the street ride, and then, you know, go out to the track when I want to let loose a little bit. But like most of life, the motorcycle ride is 99% about the journey, not the destination in my mind. So why rush it? Thanks for watching, everybody.